Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Fall has arrived, at least out here on the deck here in the mountains. I'm up at about 5,000 feet. It was 32 degrees this morning, chilly but lovely, and smoke has cleared out, so we're enjoying that. It's a pleasure to bring in a friend of mine. Don Kilmer joins us. He was with us just not too long ago, but I wanted to bring him in now because we've got this election coming up and a lot of things to talk about. And just got a note from you here, Don, that what in the world are you doing and who are you doing it with right now?
Well, I don't know. Should I mention this on the air? Might get me in trouble. Oh, I don't live in California anymore, do I?
You can do it.
No, I'm sitting on my back porch cleaning AR-15s and M1A Springfield rifles with Clayton Kramer. We were at the range yesterday.
Clayton Kramer, for those who may not, they're thinking, I know that name. Author of Lock, Stock, and Barrel, The Origins of American Gun Culture, Concealed Weapons Laws of the Early Republic, another book, Armed America, The Remarkable Story of How and Why Guns Became as American as Apple Pie. Yeah, you got two powerhouses of the Second Amendment sitting there cleaning guns on the back porch. That's pretty cool, man.
Oh, we had a blast at the range yesterday. It was a new experience for me hearing automatic fire a couple lanes over.
Oh, that's true. You're not in California anymore, are you?
Not in California anymore, and not on a movie set.
Oh, that is great. Okay, I mean, you are, a lot of people just know you as a Second Amendment attorney, a civil rights attorney, if you will, and don't know you as a gun guy, but you really are.
Oh, I love shooting. I love teaching young shooters. I got a little air rifle range set up on my back porch. The neighborhood kids, with their parents' permission, come over and we ring the iron sights or the iron targets and ring a ding ding out here on the back porch. We have a blast. That
is so much fun. All right, I wanted to bring you on because when we had lunch, I don't know, 3 weeks or so or something like that. You said something to me that kind of surprised me. You said that in 2016, you were a never-Trumper and voted for Gary Johnson, and now you are voting for Trump. You want to describe that transition and what happened over the last 4 years?
Well, that's a true statement. I was rooting for Ted Cruz during the primaries. I was very frustrated that Mr. Trump won the nomination and proceeded to campaign in a way that seemed to reflect his primary campaigning, and I was just heartbroken that it looked like Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president. Then I remember the day of the election. I was actually getting a haircut. I actually do cut the ponytail every now and then. I was actually getting a haircut. And Mark Levin had come on the radio saying Trump just took Florida. And so I went from an election night where I wasn't going to watch the election because it was going to be too depressing to my wife and I rushing home to see what eventually happened election night. Well, I still was skeptical at that point.
Okay.
Because I feared that Mr. Trump was going to govern in the way that he campaigned. And then I was pleasantly surprised and not disappointed. His judicial appointments are stellar. I might nitpick with a few of his policies on trade and what have you. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, this man is governed the way that a true Republican / maybe even with a little bit of libertarian mixed in there would have governed. I have no complaints. And if we judge Mr. Trump on his policies and his judicial picks, he should earn re-election. And even if he doesn't get re-elected, he's earned the country's gratitude and thanks for what he's done for these 4 years.
You know, it's interesting. As I'm hearing you, it's very much a mirror of my thoughts, which is, and look, there are a lot of us who say, oh, man, I wish you wouldn't say that. I wish you wouldn't do things that way. Or he's poking the media. He's doing this. And, of course, that's his thing, and he's got that thing he does. But as you say, when you look at his actions, his accomplishments, which are many, which a lot of them which he doesn't get a lot of credit for, they're incredible. They're incredible. And then, for you to talk about his judicial picks, you being a guy who's been quoted by and referred to by the Supreme Court with some of your work and your history of Second Amendment work, I pay attention. He has hundreds of judicial picks now. What do you know about Amy Coney Barrett?
Well, I haven't really done a deep dive into her whole judicial philosophy. I have read her dissent in the opinion from the Seventh Circuit about whether or not felons should have their rights restored. Right. Of course, that whole story is being misrepresented and distorted by the liberal media because she wasn't advocating that all felons. Yeah, she wasn't advocating that all felons have their rights restored. She was simply pointing out that there's a difference between violent felons and non-violent felons, and anybody who wants to pick up the United States Code, Title 18, and all the regulations that interpret the codes, and realize that people get convicted for felonies because they accidentally released dry cleaning fluid into the sewer or something. There are so many crimes that are felonies under federal law that have nothing to do with violence, and sometimes they're not even necessarily full mens rea crimes. They're simply regulatory crimes that you end up as a felon with. So it doesn't make sense to deprive these people of their right to self-defense and their right to keep and bear arms when they have shown no proclivities in their lives to misuse weapons.
And in that dissent, she writes that to not understand that and to not honor that is to continue to make the Second Amendment a second-class right.
Yeah, what's magisterial about her dissent is the methodology with which she would approach the Second Amendment, which mirrors the late Justice Scalia's approach.
Who she worked for.
Yes, and that is that the first step in constitutional analysis or constitutional adjudication should be is the text plain. If the text is plain, then you follow the text. Only then is there a second step of, well, what if there's an ambiguity here, or what if it's applying to modern circumstances that we don't necessarily understand? Well, then the answer is, what was the original public meaning and the original public purpose of that clause, as understood by the people who ratified it, as understood by the people who argued it while it was being ratified? Remember, our Constitution, constitutional amendments go through a supermajority process to make sure that everybody has buy-in and everybody is a stakeholder with any changes to the Constitution. And that's no less true of the original 10 amendments as it is to the 17 other amendments that followed it.
As you look at a Supreme Court with an Amy Coney Barrett on it, where we just had 10 Second Amendment cases declined by the Supreme Court, and we could guess why, how do you see that court going forward if she is, on the bench?
Well, my fingers are crossed that we'll finally get some traction and get some outstanding issues on interpretation of the Second Amendment resolved, like standard of review, how to interpret the amendment itself, like what people should be excluded from the right, if any, what weapons should be excluded from the right, if any. So we may get some of the more fundamental questions resolved. Of course, the Supreme Court doesn't take up insignificant or minor issues. They take up major issues.
Sure.
My sincere hope is that as I enjoy the September of my years, that I'll be put out of business and can comfortably retire and not have to litigate the Second Amendment anymore.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, and I don't want to see you going anywhere because you're just too darn good at it, my friend.
Well, I appreciate the compliment.
Don Kilmer, thank you so much. Please tell Clayton hello. We're going to get him back on the show soon because it's been too long, and we'll get him on. Talk about two great Second Amendment minds sitting on the back porch cleaning guns. Holy cow.
Yeah. All right. No, Clayton's a fun to talk to. Get him on your show.
We'll do that. All right. Take care, my friend.
Take care, Tom.